going to deal with composite function. In this case, we're going to deal with how to compose, right, a function, right? So with that being said, let's see first what a composite function is. As we may notice in here, it's read as follows, right? F of g of x can be read as f of g of x, right? And it is composed of two functions. One is inner, the other one is outer, right? How do we know it's inner? It's inner if it's inside the parenthesis, right? It's outer if it's definitely outside the parenthesis, right? So in this case, we have 3 steps in here on how to evaluate and even make or determine a composite function, right? Let's read in here, number 5. It says, given f of x to be square root of 2 minus 4x, which is a square root function, right? And g of x, which is equal to negative 3 over x, which is a, what you call this kind of function, guys, where x is on the denominator. Starts with letter R. Rational, very good, rational function, right? How to get or find g of f of x, right? So according to our notation, if you see g of f of x, then automatically this is what? What's inside the parenthesis and what's outside the parenthesis between f and g? Between f and g, which one is inside and which one is outside? So look into our notation. Whichever goes first or mentioned first should be outside. Whichever is mentioned second should be inside, right? So going back in here, between f and g, which one is inside? F, very good. Correct. And what is outside? G. Very good, right? So let's take note of those two first, right? So in short in here, g of x in here is the outer function, and f of x in here is the inner function. Okay. Now let's read how to make or evaluate a composite function. Let's read step number 1, all right? Absalom, go ahead.
Consider the inner function inside the parentheses and evaluate this.
Thank you. All right. So whatever the inner function is, consider writing it up first, right? So this is going to be the inner function. Write it up in there. And what is that? Here. Square root of 2 minus 4x, right? Square root of 2 minus 4x, right? Are we good? All right. So what? Again, consider the innermost function f, right? In some cases, you evaluate it. In this case, you write it down, okay? Step number 2, right? What is our step number 2 in here? Let's read this one first, all right? Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
This obtained value
Will now be
the new x value.
Thank you, right? You see this entire expression, that entire expression now will be your new x value, right? So this entire expression now will now be your new x value, right? For what, right? That's the new x value for, let's read our step number 3, right? Magnolia, let's read the step number 3.
Evaluate the outer function outside parentheses and use new x value.
Thank you, right? So this new x value now will be used now to evaluate the outer function. And what's your outer function? G, right? So how to evaluate that one then, right? So that means on the G, you see this G, the new x in here now, right, will now be this entire thing. So that means whatever this x is, that will also be the new x, right? So in short, what is your function now? That will be what? What's on the numerator? Still a negative 3, right? But what is now on your denominator? The x in there will now be your new x. And what's your new x? This entire thing, right? So square root of 2 minus 4x. And there we go. That will now be your g of f of x. Are we good?